$600 pension 10, 15 years ago won't buy much of anything here today.
And why the millennial generation is starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him, and 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
The Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability.
RTD Live Talk, we're live Monday night, the 17th day of the month of June, and let's find out what's going on. More importantly, I want to share my thoughts with you in reference to this whole tweet about losing the presidential bid. If he doesn't get in the White House again, the stock market's going to, or the market's going to crash. So there's a lot of things you can read into with that, but I want to share my thoughts with you on that. More importantly, find out what you guys think, because this is the first time that I've ever heard of a president mentioning in a tweet, which is his preferred choice of communication with the world, possible scenarios of what could happen if things don't turn out the way that either he expects it to turn out or the way that it should turn out, which I'm assuming is supposed to be in the best interest of the American people as well as the world. So not sure, but we're going to talk about that tonight. Won't be on long. But for those, my name is Mike, the host of RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. And more important, if we have any new viewers, feel free to let me know where you're watching from. Would definitely love to give you a shout out in the chat. There's a number over here, the 4313-462-0027. And there's a chat over here to let me know where you're watching from. And I would definitely love to acknowledge your presence this evening. So barring everything flowing smoothly, we should be able to have some good back and forth. So as always, let me see here. We got Levon Gray says hi. Scott Robinson, hi. Tony, how you doing? David. We got Tech Shot Moon, low blood pressure. Derek Thomas, what's up from St. Louis? Appreciate you watching. Ace One, it says Trump is firing those who is in his cabinet that put out the info that he is losing to Biden. Interesting. I didn't hear about that one, but not surprising. Blunt News, Silver Madness. Hello, how everybody doing? Gold says 1345 and showing no signs of breaking down. Can it last? Pat, once again, whether it goes up or down, it's all about whether or not you have possession of it, especially, we know, as everything unravels, especially when the paper and digital financial markets take a little dive. I anticipate anything that has withstood the test of time as far as an asset class will appreciate regardless. But we got Ace One from Detroit. We got Silver Madness from Chicago. We got Brian Pearson from Nashville. Fred Gar from Capro 25. Hello from Mississippi. First time caught you live. Panna from Dakota. Appreciate you joining us. We got Bad Monkey. Blunt News 9400. I'm assuming you're talking about Litecoin or successful. So it looks like I might be back on. Let me see if I'm offline officially or am I back on. Stream is down. Knew it. Very poor signal tonight, Mike. You keep dropping it. No, not this again. So, it looks like I'm back. So I apologize for the hiccups. But it's one of them things where everything is on my end, is going well, but it's not working. So, as I mentioned, it won't be on long, but yet I'll go according to my ability to stream this evening, if possible at all. But that being the case, I'm going to keep going. But in reference to the tweet from President Trump, which looked like it happened over the 15th of this past weekend, and Jesse came across it from watching Gregory Manarino's video earlier because I wasn't aware of it. But it's one of the things where I'm going to put it up on the screen. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it, and I'll share with you mine as well. Blunt News, to my knowledge, I do have high speed, but I don't worry about it that much. I just keep doing the best I can, man. It says it keeps going in and out. And so it says, what's up? As YouTube had issues today. Not aware of YouTube having issues, but, haven't had these issues in quite about a couple weeks or so. But tonight, for whatever reason, they're here. But I'm going to work through them as best I can. And but more importantly, let's talk about that tweet. What do you guys think about the idea that a president of the United States of America, of the what has been the, I guess, labeled as the greatest nation, leading nation, or whatever you want to call it, talks about the presidency, relates to presidency and a market crash in the year 2020. I think that's very truth-telling as to the real nature of our economy. And so I'll let you know what I mean by that. But we know we have a president who ran upon the idea that we were already in a bubble. The stock market was a bubble that could burst any minute now. But all of a sudden, because of Trumponomics, it looks like he's willing to continue on that narrative of all-time highs and the economy is doing great while under his watch. And so it looks like if there's any type of threat or hiccup in his bid for a second term, then he might be willing to probably be a little bit more truthful as to what he ran upon in saying that the economy is in a bubble. So perhaps if there is a threat to him having a second term, perhaps he might go back to that initial narrative of saying that the economy is not real, these numbers aren't real, the markets are fake, all the things that he told us during his bid for presidency as candidate Trump. So perhaps we're starting to really see some truth, and I believe we're starting to see truth. So I'm going to actually pull it up here and let you guys see what I'm referring to. But to me, this is President Trump's version of truth. So here we have the tweet here that it looks like, and pull this up, it was done 6:44 a.m. on the 15th, which was this past weekend. And the very fact that it talks about keep America great. Like, what exactly does that imply? Like, is he owning this false economic recovery or expansion that we're supposed to be in, or what? I'm not sure. But let's find out more. And so as I'm watching myself on the screen, it looks like there's major glitches, as if it's not flowing smoothly. So for those that are watching, let me know if I'm flowing smoothly or not, because if it's not streaming smoothly, then there's no point in really trying to have a live stream. And so here we got economy, stocks collapse long before election day. Yeah, that I don't doubt. 2008 was a warm-up for 2020. It says Russia in the house. He's trying to frighten us into voting for him, but I think it's going to backfire on him. Queen Midas, that's a very good thought. And so one thing I'm really trying to wrap my head around this, because I think this is something that's very telling of the true nature of our economy. As I mentioned before, the fact he ran upon the economy being in a bubble, he became president, and then the bubble has grown under his watch, and he's owning it. And now he's looked like he's threatening, I'm assuming, the Democratic side of things, or those that oppose him having a second term, because of all the disruption, how he may not be playing ball according to the way that he was supposed to. And so perhaps this is a threat to, those that control this market, because we all know that everything is rigged for the most part. And so if the economy is rigged because of central banking, which is all relatively privately owned, we know the Wall Street pretty much is owned by the too big to fail banks in a sense. So is this some type of threat to them, basically threatening their control over the markets if they interfere with him becoming president next go round? I don't know. I'm curious to find out what you guys think. So the phone lines are open, and the number is 313-462-0027. Give me a call. Let me know what you think. We can walk through this a little bit, because my personal opinion is, regardless as to whether he becomes president or not, I'm more of the mindset that the economy is artificial anyway. And so I think between now and the time, I think it's November 2020, by the time the person actually enters the White House for that next term, between now and then, we're going to have so many hiccups in the market to where, because of quantitative easing, the Dow Jones especially, which is at about 26,000, it's going to be 30, give or take, or probably around that ballpark, to where I don't really see him wanting to pop that air out of this bubble just yet, intentionally or not, because he's still tied into this. His reputation rides upon this narrative that he's been carrying along, continue to mainstream. So, but back to the main story. So the question will be, is Trump admitting that this is an artificial economy that he now controls and he can pop the bubble if need be, or is this something that he's seeing those that oppose him having a second term, and why will that be? So let's get serious with this. I'm curious to find out what you guys think. So I'll read some from the chat until I get some more serious calls. It says, Tony Blaylock says, what it said, Tony says, it don't matter what Trump does or says, he have had all the bad economic news for the past 2 years, the U.S. in free fall, period. Tony, I do agree. I do believe, regardless as to whatever comes, the equities market, especially amongst all the other things we know about the bond market and corporate debt having major issues, all that stuff like that, it's all bound to reveal itself as being artificial anyway. But why would you tweet this? Why would you put this in a Twitter unless there was something behind it? And then, I just to read even further into it, one thing that really had me curious was he ran on the fact that he didn't or don't really need the job, but because he's a concerned citizen, he cares about the American public, he decided to, take this position, free of charge, donate his paycheck, and and contribute more to charity, whatever he's doing with what he would be receiving in compensation for the job. But the fact that now he wants a second term. So my question is, this is an extremely difficult job. So I would imagine it's not something that your ordinary person would want to have unless they had some plans or alternative motives, which I'm sure he does have that. But let's find out what's going on. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Tony from Oakland. How's it going, Mike?
I'm doing good, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing good as well.
What's on your mind? What are your thoughts? Go ahead. Lay it on me.
Who does that? Who tells the American people that if they don't reelect me, that it's going to be some trouble?
President Trump. I mean, he's
a person going out the door, right?
Now you think he's going out of the door because the American people won't vote for him a second term, or the electoral, however it went down, or because his opposition will do everything they can to make sure he doesn't make it to a second term, legally or illegally.
They're all in the same boat. Yeah. I don't care which order you roll in it, you're in the same boat. And and for him to say that, and for nobody to come back on, you haven't heard anything from the Democratic side, Republican side. So that tells me they all in cahoots and they know what's going on. And everybody's just trying to get their piece of the pie while there's still some left.
Yeah. Yeah. Now one thing that, in just reading into this, I'm thinking like this guy now, he has a job. So being a president is a job. So for the first time, probably, I'm not sure, in his working career, he actually has a job, a J-O-B. So he has to go to the office and do the presidential type of things. And so I'm like, this is not just your ordinary job, though. This is like, I guess, would you say this is the most honored and revered and respected position a person can have on the planet, or a central banker? What would you say?
Well, you got to go back in time, and if you start from now, this is not a job for him. He's just doing what they tell him to do. And the mafia and all the bloodline throughout the mafia, and you look at the ones that are coming through now. It's just a matter of who's got the biggest gun.
Yeah.
And so I don't think anything's gonna happen to Trump. He's just gonna say, "I told you so." When he goes out of office and this whole thing blows up, that's what Trump does. I told you so.
So watch this. So if he does, so according to this here, if he doesn't get, however, if anyone but me takes over in 2020, I know the competition very well. There will be a market crash. So is he predicting the fact that the Democratic Party or whoever the Republican candidate that could beat him or whatever, they would intentionally want the market to crash, or what? And
there'll be a market crash.
So is he saying that I'm the only one that can keep this bubble going because he's going to put pressure on the Fed to drop rates and to guarantee quantitative easing to inflate the bubble for a little bit longer? Is that kind of what he's hinting at, you think?
Yeah, he's working for the bankers. He's working for the Fed. He's not working for the American people, and he never has in his whole entire career.
Yeah.
You're fired.
Yeah,
so,
man.
It's just my inclination that, and it's my opinion that this whole thing's going down, and just a matter of when it goes down. It could be this year, could be next year.
Yeah.
But there's no way that as much as it's becoming revealed to the American people how fake this economy is, you cannot sustain this whole thing this long. And when they find out it's been going on for over 70 years. There may be blood in the streets, but here's the other thing: if gold goes up to $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, that's not good.
Yeah, not at all. Because that's
not good. I'd like to see it, but I can't hate to see what the outside of my window would look like.
Yeah, because I was watching. I was watching a video. I was watching, just watching normal commentary. And someone mentioned about the true nature of gold and what it's always been. It's always been a measuring stick for true value in the economy. And it so happened that after, the gold standard and the silver standard was removed, that paper became that form of measuring in the form of prices. So now we're talking about price of 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 gold. That's just a price, but it's really a measuring barometer of the value or the lack thereof of this artificial paper digital currency we're in. So to me, a $4,000 or $5,000 gold price basically says that the Federal Reserve note, which everyone knows as a dollar, is basically gone. Like it's of no use really outside of people scrambling to try to get whatever goods and service they can get, because assuming inflation has really hit the commodities in the form of gold, silver, and all the tangible assets. So it's a true sign that the dollar will probably no longer be a gold or a